Hey, ever heard of Metalstorm, the destruction of Jared-Syn? It showed up way back on August 19, 1983, directed by Charles Band. He also helped write it with Alan J. Adler. You'll see faces like Jeffrey Byron, Michael Preston, Tim Thomerson, Kelly Preston, yep, that Kelly Preston, and Richard Moll, the guy who played Bull on Night Court, popping up in starring roles. The premise. So what's the deal? Picture this, a wild sci-fi world on the desert planet Lemuria. Dogen, that's Jeffrey Byron, is our Space Ranger hero, and he's hunting down this over-the-top evil cult leader, Jared-Syn, played with real style by Michael Preston. Syn is hypnotic, evil, and has enslaved a ton of nomads with creepy magic and tech, plus his big intimidating cyborg, Baal, R. David Smith. When Baal kills the dad of Diana, Kelly Preston, super early in her acting days, Dogen gets mad and swears revenge. He teams up with Rhodes, Tim Thomerson, basically a desert badass with a lot of snark. Together, the two trek across Lemuria, dodging mutant tribes and crazy vehicles, trying to stop Jared-Syn from taking over before he has a shot at the entire galaxy. Metalstorm's world is a blast. Think Mad Max and Star Wars thrown into a blender with some heavy metal album covers. Lemuria is totally wrecked. Sand everywhere, scavengers chasing you down, mutated freaks jumping out of ruins. 1 minute someone's firing a laser cannon from their dune buggy, the next they're chanting spells and waving magic crystals around. The movie tries real hard to ride the early 80s desert planet wave, just like Star Wars and The Road Warrior. Sometimes it nails it, sometimes it just looks like cosplay in the desert, but hey, they went for it. Charles Band, the big boss behind Trancers and Puppet Master, wanted Metalstorm to be a space western in 3D. Universal Pictures was up for it because 3D was all the rage in the early 80s. Remember those red and blue glasses? Yikes. Most of this was filmed in the Mojave and at Vasquez Rocks, so if you see some familiar boulders, that's why. They did the best they could with what they had. A lot of the effects look rushed or unfinished, and the 3D stuff is kind of goofy by today's standards. Lasers, spears, anything that could fly at the camera, they leaned in. People weren't exactly singing its praises at first. Critics kind of tore it apart, said the story was thin and the action was confusing, especially with the whole 3D thing going on. Some called it a knockoff or just plain boring. But guess what? The movie found its audience. Folks who love cheesy 80s sci-fi, B-movies, and just that whole earnest but low-budget vibe. And you can't forget the soundtrack. Richard Band's music gave the movie way more epic weight than maybe it deserved. That's honestly one thing people still love about it. Cult status. Yeah, Metalstorm bombed at first, but it found a second life on late-night TV and VHS, especially if you're into Full Moon or all those other Charles Band flicks. It actually teased a sequel in the end credits. Never happened, sadly. A big win. It got restored and released on Blu-ray in 3D by Shout Factory in 2014, with extras and behind-the-scenes stuff. Weird trivia, Jared-Syn doesn't really get destroyed. He's just gone by the end. Tons of the props and costumes were reused in other Band movies. The trailer was super dramatic, but the movie had budget limits, let's say. Metalstorm is more about chaos and space war energy than actual storms of metal. The takeaway: watching Metalstorm today is like tripping back to the early 80s. It's got all the good, the bad, and the weird. Low-budget sci-fi with dune buggies, lasers, and a ton of charm if you're into nostalgic B-movies. If you dig stuff like Battle Beyond the Stars or Space Hunter, or if you just want a blast of retro 3D cheese, you might have a lot of fun with this crazy ride. Want to hear about more forgotten movie gems like this? Follow Movies of the 80s for your next shot of nostalgia.